If everyone could take their seats, please. The chair would like to call to order tonight's regular meeting of the Board of Ed of CUSD 201 on February 27, 2018. Roll call, please.
Ms. Ambrose.
Here.
Mr. Armstrong.
Here.
Mrs. Charlton.
Here.
Mrs. Coyle.
Here.
Mr. Price.
Here.
Mr. Strohmeyer.
Here.
Ms. Wilson.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, the first item we have on the agenda is board member
Pledge allegiance.
Oh, sorry. We could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, now, the first item on the agenda is board member resignation. At tonight's board meeting, the board will accept the resignation of Lori Ambrose, and we will thank her for her years of service to the district and the board. Following Board Policy 270, there is a process in place to fill vacancies on the Board of Education. Earlier this month, the board followed this process, and the position of Matt Johnson's board seat was filled by Laura Coyle. The process under the board policy calls for notifying the community, receiving applications of interested parties, reviewing valid applications, and interviewing candidates. On February 6th, the board conducted interviews of the candidates who applied for Matt's vacancy. We were extremely fortunate to meet with highly qualified candidates, and a selection was made. Laura Coyle was appointed to the board on February 13th. That same day, Lori Ambrose submitted her resignation with an effective date of February 27th. The board discussed this and also sought advice from our attorneys. Since the board had just completed the vacancy selection process, and because there were such qualified candidates at that time, the board has the option to select one of the other candidates that we had just interviewed. Because the board is confident that a highly qualified candidate remains available from that pool of applicants to fill Lori's seat, we will also vote on the motion to suspend Board Policy 2-70, following Board Policy 2-240, which will allow the board to forego the extensive process for filling the new vacancy. We do not believe it prudent in these circumstances to do so when the candidates have so recently expressed their interest in being on the board and impressed us during their interview. So, in just a few moments at tonight's board meeting, the board will seat Mr. John Rudy. So first, before we officially say the motion, Lori, did you wanted to say just a few things?
I do. I want to say that it's been a privilege to have this opportunity to serve District 201, and it's been a pleasure to serve alongside the current board, past Board 2 members. Sorry, Mara and Matt. So thank you for that. But one thing I want to say real quickly is I've had quite a few takeaways from my brief experience here as a member. But the one I keep circling back to is that the passion and the dedication from each of you for the education of our children and their success, I'm greatly appreciative of that. So I thank you for that and wish you all good luck. It's like I'm leaving the country, don't I? So thank you. That's it.
Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to accept the resignation of school board member Lori Ambrose effective February 27th, 2018, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call, please.
Ms. Ambrose.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Strohmeyer.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so Lori, we would like to have you come back to a future board meeting when we can hand you your plaque as a thank you from the board.
I'd be happy to.
So we'll be in touch. Okay. Thank you.
Leave.
All right.
Stop it. Get up and go. Oh,
Well,
you guys want it?
yeah, we're gonna
Should I just put
just leave it here. And we'll-
Thanks.
Okay, then, the chair per Board Policy 2-240 will entertain a motion to suspend Board Policy 2-70, vacancies on the board, filling vacancies as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong,
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Strohmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have the appointment of new board member. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the appointment of John Rudy to the Board of Education of Community Unit School District 201 to fill the unexpired term of Lori Ambrose.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Coyle,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Strohmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson, Mr. Armstrong,
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Too late.
Come on over here. I, John Reed.
I, John Reed,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of member of Board of Education
of member of Board of Education
of Community Unit School District 201
of Community Unit School District 201
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the laws of the State of Illinois
and the laws of the State of Illinois
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I further swear that
I further swear that
I shall respect taxpayers' interests
I shall respect taxpayers' interests
by serving as a faithful protector
by serving as a faithful protector
of the school district's assets.
of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect
I shall encourage and respect
the free expression of opinion
the free expression of opinion
by my fellow board members
by my fellow board members
and others who seek a hearing
and others who seek a hearing
before the board,
before the board,
while respecting the privacy
while respecting the privacy
of students and employees.
of students and employees.
I shall recognize that
I shall recognize that
as a board member,
as a board member,
that a board member
that a board member
has no legal authority
has no legal authority
as an individual,
as an individual,
and that decisions can be made
and that decisions can be made
only by a majority vote
only by a majority vote
at a public board meeting.
at a public board meeting.
And I shall abide by majority decisions
I shall abide by majority decisions
of the board
of the board
while retaining the right
while retaining the right
to seek changes in such decisions
to seek changes in such decisions
through ethical
through ethical
and constructive channels.
and constructive channels.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, if we can have your family
Yep.
up here for a photo, perhaps? Let's do that.
Come here, Joey.
You guys up there, promise. Okay.
Come here, buddy. Hi. Yes. Stand right here with Dad. Thank you.
Congratulations.
See you guys.
Did you want to just tell us who your family is that's here with you?
Oh,
We have
that
a
are
couple
that are
members.
leaving right away? My son Joseph, my wife Janine. Joey attends Miller School in the district, and my parents, Stan and Ricky, are in from Ohio as well.
Nice, nice. Okay. Are there any public comments? Okay, the Celebrate Success by the WTA will not occur at this meeting, and we hope to have that at the next meeting. Okay, moving on to approval of minutes. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the February 13, 2018 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain?
Abstain.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the February 13, 2018 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And,
Abstain.
great. Okay, the consent agenda, are there any comments or questions about that? Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Number 1, personnel recommendations. Long-term substitute. Max Morano, long-term substitute, kindergarten teacher at Manning Elementary School. Stipend positions, Mackenzie Bell, summer volleyball camp coach, Westmont High School. 2, dismissal of educational support personnel employee for reasons other than reduction in force. Approve a resolution authorizing the dismissal of educational support personnel employee Howard Negg for reasons other than reduction in force. 3, approval of student tours. 4, approval of February 2018 expenditure report. 5, ratification of January 2018 regular payroll.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Rudy.
Yes.
Mr. Strohmeyer.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle.
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carried. The first item for discussion is presentation of monthly financial statements.
Hi, this evening, the January financial statements are attached for your review. During this month, the district received $164,000 from the state. All of that was in the education fund, and $120,000 of that was for fiscal year 18 general state aid payments. The district has the state has vouchered $367,000 of fiscal year 18 payments that have not been released. And of that $367,000, $126,000 is due to the ed fund, and $241,000 is due to the transportation fund. In the transportation fund, the revenues year-to-date are slightly higher than prior years because of receiving FY17 payments in FY18. And the state owes us for the first and second quarter of fiscal year 18. And then expenditures in the ed and tort funds, they're comparable to the prior year averages. And again, in O&M, the expenditures vary from year to year based on the projects that we're doing. So O&M fund is 49.9% spent to date, and last year at this time was 43.22%. And then again, transportation fund, the percentages year to date vary significantly based on the timing of receipt of vendor invoices. And so again, this year there are some Septran invoices that we still have not received to pay. The other documents are attached for your review, fund balance, investments, the activity reports, and lunch report. Does anybody have any other questions on the monthly financials? Okay.
What do you think about the interest rates? Are they, is that any better than it was a year?
Yeah, I mean, they're still not high, but they're definitely better. We're seeing, anywhere from 1.25 to maybe 1.75, depending upon the length of time that we have to invest. And at this time of year, we can't invest out as far, very long, because we're starting to use up all our tax balances, and so until we get those June early taxes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, the next item for discussion is the summer school programs.
We had this topic at our last board meeting, and the board had a couple of questions and suggestions, and so I went back to the admin team and retooled a few things. But basically, again, the program that we're planning session 1 would start June 4th and end on June 14th, and the second session June 18th through June 28th. The school day will start at 8:30 and end at 11:30. So classes are meeting Monday through Thursday, and once again, we will be offering transportation for our students. Similar to what we've done other summers, we use our current buildings as kind of the hub. So if students get to South or Manning or Miller, then they can hop on a bus and be shuttled to the high school. And then for those students who live, it would be north of Ogden Avenue, those students can go to a park, Washington Park, and a bus will pick them up there and take them over to the high school. The big change with the elementary school, the previous program, we offered kind of a remedial math in reading and then an enrichment math and reading. The data wasn't showing that the remedial program was really having the impact that we were looking for. So we're kind of doing a hybrid where we're going to offer a reading and math program, still focusing on working on student skills in those two areas, but it'll be more project-based, problem-solving, high-level engagement. And then the $35 fee is something that one of the things that we've struggled with is, parents will sign up their child for summer school, but then the attendance would be lagging. And so trying to get a stronger commitment from parents, the $35 fee, but of course, those families who may have a difficult time with the fee will work with those families, so not to be a deterrent. The dual language piece, we are working on that piece. Our current dual language teachers, they're all involved in a master's program right now in dual language, and so that limits their availability during the summer. So we are looking for a summer dual language program or a teacher so that we can offer the program. Absent that, though, we do have a plan B where we can use Michelle Leidy, who is the junior high ELL teacher. She would be able to come and push in to those classrooms. And then similar to what happens during the school year, some of the student instruction is in Spanish, some is in English. We'd model that during the summer as well, so that those students have the opportunity to speak, read, and write in Spanish during the summer to help shore that up. The junior high will be offering reading and STEM for grades 6th through 8th, and then also their step up to 6th grade, August 13th and 14th. In the high school, again, we'll be offering credit recovery for the students who are deficient, and then jump into AP Geography, jump into AP Stats, then a transition into English and Math for those students who may be lacking some skills as they enter the high school, and then our freshman orientation, August 13th and 14th. And then, as always, we'll be assessing our students before and after to make sure that we're having the impact that we're looking for.
Anybody have any comments? Question? I have one. So in your memo, you talk about that we're offering the, for the elementary school, offering the enrichment, math and reading. So, and obviously there's 17 ways to analyze this. You say we're not getting what we had hoped with towards the remedial program. Just kind of wondering, well, wondering out loud, aren't those the students that probably need it the most?
Right, and so we're still going to be extending invitations to those students to be involved in summer school.
Okay.
And still focus on those areas, but deliver the curriculum in a different manner because there was low student engagement with how we were doing it.
Okay.
So by going to the project-based, problem-based, we're anticipating greater student engagement, and therefore we should be able to make greater progress with the students.
Okay, on the chart, I do see you have intervention students are invited first. And then each session, like let's just say the first and second grade. So there'll be 2 teachers in each session, is that right? Okay, so there's 2 teachers. So those teachers, once they determine who the students are, will be able to decide how the course will be
Right.
done. Okay.
Right, they'll look at the students and their,
Okay. And then the registration fees, I appreciate that, that change from before. And then the supplies, the $100 per teacher, is that, so per teacher, are they using the same supplies at the next session, or are these all together
yes,
different?
they'll be using the same supplies. We may have to replenish some supplies.
Okay.
But that's what the district is budgeting for the courses. That's not passed
Okay.
along to the students.
No.
Right.
I'm just saying, yes,
Right.
I saw that. So there's a chance that the same,
Right.
okay.
Right.
I'm sorry?
Right, 2 teachers, 1 teacher per session. Right.
One teacher per session. So there's one teacher that's going to teach the first and second grade.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Okay, anyone else have any other questions on that?
No, I just like the proposal a little bit better. I'm glad we were able to reduce some of the fees and hopefully get better participation. Kevin, do you think any of it has to do with, when I say participation, do we take attendance? I mean, do we know the attendance? Is there, I mean, obviously you probably do, but I mean, it's never been shared with the board
No, I
in
don't
any
think
way.
we've ever shared, think we shared participation numbers with the board, but I don't think we ever shared then the attendance. But we can share that information with the board.
And is it more the students who want to go to help themselves, or is it the students that are in recovery that aren't attending? I mean, so I know you don't probably have the answer off the top of your head, but I mean, that would be a
Right.
big difference to me. And then, obviously, we can't make them go to summer school, but having them pay something should get better
Right,
participation.
hopefully
Okay.
that creates some greater buy-in.
Hopefully. Okay.
I also think, just comment, the structure of having the sessions back to back. I think that's something you're returning to, whereas last summer they were split.
Right.
Which made it difficult for parents to coordinate childcare and that sort of thing. So I think this will help, having them back to back. So appreciate that change as well.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? So Kevin, when are we going to start reaching out to our families about that? When will registration start?
Once, I'll talk to the building principals. Once the board approves it, we start to put together the registration information.
Okay.
And I would say within a couple weeks, that information will start to go home, and parents will be able to start registering their child.
Okay, and then you'll keep us updated on the
dual language,
the dual
yes.
language. So with that bilingual teacher, would that teacher spend the time in the 3 classrooms
Right.
each day and
Right.
on all that? Okay. Okay, great, and we will be voting on that in just a bit. So any other questions before we move on? Okay, the next topic for discussion is 2018-2019 school fees.
All right, there's several worksheets in the board docs for you, for your review. There is a 10-year history of school fees along with the percentage change by year. There's also a comparison of our fees to other area districts, and then a listing of the proposed fees. And so one thing I wanted to know, there is a slight increase in our basic registration fee for next year. And that fee has not changed since the 2012-13 school year, so 5 years ago, so it was a time for a slight increase this year. We also are increasing the parking fee slightly, and instead of increasing it to $150, the Finance Committee met and is recommending an increase to $135, so just $10 additional this year. Our parking fee is lower than other schools in the comparative analysis, except for one. And then this year also the AP US History fee is being removed because it will not be needed for next year. And the one other piece of our fees that we would typically approve at this time is our lunch program. But we don't have all the paid lunch equity data that we need from the federal government to be able to do the calculation to determine if we need to change our rates. So once they give that information to us, I'll either let the board know that our lunch fees are okay or bring that recommendation to you to change lunch fees. So at this time, we'll just have you approve what they were last year until we get all the information we need for that.
Just in case anyone's watching and doesn't have this in front of them, do you want to just point out that, like, the school fees, like,
Yeah.
they're only going up $2, $2, $3, whatever?
Yeah, so, let's see, hang on. So the early child and kindergarten half-day is increasing from 75 to 77. The grade 1 through 5 and full-day K is going from $110 to $112. Grades 6 through 8, from $140 to $143. The high school is going from $190 to $194, and parking from 125 to 135. And then again, the AP US history was 15, and now it's going to be 0.
Just in case anyone doesn't have all these spreadsheets at home, and I know everyone's watching, so. And it is helpful. I will say thank you very much for having the history of a couple different ways of school fees in our district, because it does show that we are not, we're not increasing our fees every year in any way.
Right.
And when we are like this year, it is a minimal amount, so I appreciate that.
Does anybody have any other questions on school fees?
Okay, we will be voting on that in a few minutes then. Okay, and then the next informational discussion is the budget topic.
Right now, we were in our process of planning for the 18-19 school year, so our budget and staffing development. And we've done this the last couple of years where we ask the board if they have any suggestions or ideas that they'd like for us to consider as we develop the budget. My guess is, though, because we have 3 new board members, you may not know what to expect or what this looks like, and so we can definitely bring this topic back. But to give you an idea, in the past, some of the discussion was summer school. At one time, the district had a summer school program and cost containment, and then as we were able to build up our fund balances, that was one discussion. Is there a possibility to look at the summer school program? Is there a possibility to redevelop that? And that's what we did. There's been suggestions, for instance, landscaping for our schools. There was a concern about how I guess you'd say the curb appeal of our schools, and so that was a discussion. The junior high has always had a spring musical every other year, and so there was discussion about would it be possible to at least budget for the possibility of having a spring musical every year. If the students opt to do that, then it's budgeted in place. So those are some of the things. It's not that we're able to do everything. I'm sure our needs are greater than our resources, but this is the board's opportunity. If there's anything that, as we're going through the budgeting process, you'd like for us to think about, consider, Kim and I take that back to the admin team, and we talk about that and see if there's any way we can incorporate that or accomplish those things.
This is like our Christmas wish, right? That's what we're seeing here?
And the other caveat is we're anticipating in March we'll be bringing the 5-year capital development plan to the board. So obviously there may be some items on that as well that the board would like to take a look at and consider as well.
The only thing that I have, again, it's always painful to remember the reduction in things that we had to go through years back. The only thing that I think I would be interested in looking at is language at the junior high. Bringing that back. Now, that is separate from the dual language, just
Right.
in case anyone, it's separate from the dual language. But years ago, the junior high did offer Spanish, just the one class. So it would be interesting to see if there's somehow if we could incorporate that back into.
Well, and the dual language program is also growing closer towards the junior high. So there might be some connection that we could make there.
Right, right. That was just the first thing, and I know we are going to be talking about the capital projects later, but that was just something I thought about.
No, I'm good
So-
with it.
Okay, so we can talk about this again.
Yeah.
but- Okay.
So what should we do? Should we email suggestions to you, Kevin? Is that?
Yeah, you can email, or if you want, I can put this on the agenda for next month as well. And if people want to share their ideas, then we can do that as well.
Why don't you go ahead and do that?
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Okay, now action items. First one is approval of 2018 summer school programs. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the CUSD 201 2018 summer school programs as presented. Roll call, please.
So moved?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Rudy.
Yes.
Mr. Stromeyer.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item, approval of 2018-2019 student fees. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the 2018-2019 school fees as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the special education transportation contract with Sunrise Southwest LLC for SACID. I just want to reiterate, Rick, you were able to ask the questions you wanted to
Yes.
ask?
I joined the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee met with Kim last week to go through the contracts. Thank you.
I just have a quick question. Kim, are we sure about this number that's in here?
Which one?
Let me go back to it here. It said a ceiling of 3%. I thought it was 2.5.
Of which number?
I'm
This
sorry, I
is
lost my
the,
page.
this is the special ed one, has a ceiling of
Oh, right.
3%.
Okay,
The other
special.
one, the
This-
regular ed is
this
2.5.
2.5. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're all good?
Yep.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the special education transportation contract with Sunrise Southwest LLC, SACID, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mrs. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, then the next one is the transportation contract with Westway Coach. Kim, did you want to
Yeah,
talk
I can
about
just
that
give a
one?
little bit of information. Again, the Finance Committee met and reviewed that, and we had a discussion, and I did go back and talk with Westway, and we arrived at 2.5% increase. CPI is 2.1, so we're very close to CPI for next year. So we originally had a 2-year contract that expired at the end of 2013-14. We can extend that contract on a year-to-year basis. So we have been extending it for 1-year terms since then. And, overall, our service has been good. They did move our service location from Lamont to Villa Park this year. So again, we had a few little items that we needed to work out with timing and some route runs, but we've worked through those things. You're always going to experience a few hiccups along the way. One of the things to, for newer board members to be aware of, that rates have increased significantly over the last several years, and that is a product of driver shortage. It's been difficult for these companies to attract and retain drivers. So they've increased their wages significantly, which in turn increases their workmen's compensation costs, and liability insurance rates continue to increase. And then there's been numerous mergers within the industry that has decreased the number of unique providers as well. So, increases, like we saw for the special ed, we had those in our regular ed a couple years ago. And everybody's seeing, at certain times, depending upon when their contracts renew, double-digit increases, in the 20% range. So it's good that, we've already gone through that with our regular ed, and so 2.5, I think, is a very reasonable increase for next year. Anybody have other questions?
Sorry.
So this is the one, this is a 1-year contract?
1 year, yes, and unless we go out to bid.
Right, we do it.
It's a 1-year contract from
great.
now on.
Okay, any questions? The chair will entertain a motion to approve the transportation contract with Westway Coach as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
Yes.
Mr. Stromeyer?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the superintendent's report.
In my report, first I'll begin by saying that our thoughts and prayers are with Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in the Parkland, Florida community. And obviously, a tragedy like that does, create anxiety among students and among our community and parents. And just to remind our parents that we are diligent in maintaining safe buildings. If the community recalls, the board in the last couple of years really upgraded significantly the safety precautions of our buildings by changing the entrances at the high school, Miller and Manning, and then also enclosing the classrooms at the junior high and high school, so that it creates a safer environment. We also do our drills on a regular basis in coordination with Westmont Fire and Police Departments. We do an armed intruder drill every year so that our staff will know how to respond in the event of a crisis. But obviously, the greatest way that we can maintain the safety and security of our buildings is when people know information, if they share it with a trusting adult in the buildings or with the district, and then in turn, we can follow up on those concerns. The one thing that we are working on is an electronic tip line, so that if individuals are not comfortable contacting somebody, they can submit it electronically. There will be the option to do it anonymously if they will, and if they want to, and then we will follow up on that as well. Right now, we're beta testing that, so I'm assuming that probably next week we'll be able to make that public and then communicate to our families that's available. There will be a link right on the front page of every building and the district website, so that'll be easy to find. Somebody can click on it and put in the pertinent information. We're going to use it for dual purposes. One is obviously if they have a concern that they want us to know about, but then also if there's something positive that they'd like to share as well. So it will serve both functions for us. The other thing I can share with you right now, you may also be hearing about, schools being encouraged to do something, the students, some type of a silent protest or something. And the important thing is that it's got to be grassroots. It has to be the students who are doing it. And our high school students are talking about doing something on March 14th, which would be the 1-month anniversary. And the discussion right now is that the students would exit the building for 17 minutes and then stay on campus and then return to the building. And so if and then it's optional. So if students want to remain in the building, they'll be supervised inside the building. But we will supervise our students, make sure they're safe. If students do follow through on that and they are peaceful, they stay on campus, and then they return back to the school at the end of the 17 minutes, then there would be no consequence from the school. But again, they need to make sure that they're, acting appropriately and return back to school during that time.
I just have a quick comment or concern. I'm all for whatever the students want to do, that's fine, and I can certainly understand why they would want to, but I'm concerned about allowing the students out of the building to march around the building. So can you tell me, would there be any additional police presence involved here? Because, letting them be outside seems not the safest thing to do.
Sure.
Okay, so that would be my only concern. Certainly if they want to, hold their vigil or their protest, that's fine, but we have to make sure we keep them safe, and it just seems to me letting them go outside the building isn't the best thing, but as long as there's additional police officers present to ensure their safety, I'm fine with that.
And we'll coordinate with Westmont Police Department, Nick Lynn, our resource officer, to make sure that they're
And
present.
is it just high school students?
Right now, the conversation is just at the high school.
Okay.
And Kevin, first of all, I very much appreciate you bringing this to us and talking about this because, again, this grassroots effort by the students. You and I talked earlier, and it seems as though what the kids are looking to do right now is just go outside, walk around the track once, and then come back.
Right.
So they would really be on school property
Right,
as
they'll
opposed
be on
to,
campus, yes.
I know I hear other students want to walk around. So this would be really on.
Right, our kids will be on campus.
And again, just for those, in case you don't know, we do have a school resource officer, Nick Glenn, and he's always come through for us any other time. So I'm sure he would, anytime we've needed anything, he's brought people in that are necessary. So I'm happy about that. I also have to say, first of all, there will be notice going out to the
Right.
parents,
right.
so people know.
Communication.
So
Right,
that will be
communication will be
going
going out.
I am happy to see that our high school administrators, and yourself as well, are listening to the students and that. I know that there are some schools that are saying if students did that, they'd be suspended, and that kind of makes me sad a little bit. It's 17 minutes, and it's going to be something that is supervised, so it's not like they're just running around. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's a very difficult topic, and I know there's a lot of talk. I am, again, very happy to know that our school, we are doing what we can, and we have taken that step to make sure our buildings are as safe as they can be, and as safe as they can be. So, anyway, thank you for that. Anything else on that? Okay, do you
Well,
have-
one
go
other
ahead.
quick thing, and then the board will have their opportunity. I'm not going to speak to the musical this week, and I'll let some other board members reference that. But our Madrigals, high school Madrigal group, competed at Joliet High School this weekend, and they were the grand champion. So.
Yes. Well, okay, but go further. They did it on Saturday.
Yes.
After doing the play, musical Friday night, they went and spent the day, and then they had to come back on Saturday night to do the musical again.
Yes.
So, there you go. Okay, Kevin, did you have anything else?
No, that's it.
That's it. Okay, are there any board reports?
Oh, I'm
Gary?
just gonna jump right in. Fine Arts Department, you rock. That play was awesome. Students, everybody, the band, it was fabulous. The band even got up and dressed in 80s clothing too, just to, be a part of it. I just can't say it enough. The Fine Arts Department rocks. It was a wonderful presentation. I saw it twice, so it was great. Congratulations to all involved.
Yeah, it was really, really, really well done, and there was a lot of, what did we hear? It's the highest attended musical in the last
Yeah, the Sunday, it was
number of
really
years.
crowded on Sunday, yeah.
Yes, and that is a lot. That's a lot to say. And again, it's talking to people. We were reminded that some of these students that are in this are not necessarily, their forte isn't music and dancing, but they do it and they try it and they do it very well. And some of those kids just, they all did such a great job, but they had the opportunity to be involved in it. And I guess a special thanks to Mr. Kostel, who gave up his time to help the students and be a future student, so.
I know I appreciated it. My daughter actually had the opportunity to attend twice, and being a younger child, for her to see what she can do in the future within the school district, I think was a really great opportunity. I also wanted to give a mention to both, there was a family dance that Miller hosted this weekend, and then on Saturday night, Manning's PTO hosted their trivia night. It was really nice to see families from both schools attending both events. So that, I just think that was a really great thing to have happen, and progress being made in terms of those families and those kids sort of mingling with each other more before they head into the junior high. So it was good stuff.
I'd like to echo, Laura and I were both at the PTO fundraiser trivia night, and it's, I just think it's a great event. We've done this, I think, 3 years or 4 years in a row. It's at Knights of Columbus. It brings a lot of families together. Special shout out and appreciation to Katie Belmonte and Patty Riccardi for all their effort and work that they put into it. Shout out to the Miller families that participated, and the Manning faculty and staff that also participated. It was a nice community event, and it's worthy of some attention. We've got, I want to highlight something that the board has done. I think this is right, Marie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but on Monday, there's a raffle at Manning for Manning PTO, and one of the things that's being raffled and given away is the American Girl doll. And that's something that Courtney Templeton reached out to the board and asked us to make a contribution. And so I'm excited to see that that's a headliner item on the raffle for Monday.
I will share that that is a hot ticket every year at the raffle. And in the past, when Miller has had theirs,
Yep.
they've reached out to us too.
Absolutely.
So it's a great thing to hear more and more and more that the schools are participating, not just the two elementary schools, but the junior high and the high school, and watching the younger students go see the high school students. And there have been years in the past where elementary students have participated in this. A few years back, some of our students who are in high school now were Munchkins.
Yeah, the
and-
Wizard of Oz.
in The Wizard of Oz. So there's been different opportunities. A number of years back, when they did Joseph, they had a lot of elementary schools. So it just keeps growing. And just looking at the pictures on Facebook of the Manning and Miller night, I'm going to write that down for next year, because that sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, I have, did anyone else have anything else?
I have just
okay.
a brief update. Last night I attended a search committee meeting at SACID. I'm on the search committee for a new executive director. Dr. Volpe will be retiring after next school year. And so the board at SACID has decided to start the process kind of early with the hopes of bringing somebody in, because there's going to be a lot of administrative changes there in the next couple of years, several retirements. And so they're trying to start the process early. So our search committee got together to start developing a parent engagement, staff engagement questionnaire survey that's going to go out to all the member districts. And it'll go to probably Linda and Kevin to further distribute to the appropriate staff to get good feedback, not just about SACID and their programs, but specifically about the qualities and characteristics they want to see in an executive director or a leader for the organization. So all 18 member districts will be surveyed, and then we'll be meeting again in about, I want to say 2 months or so after the survey gets out, and kind of review the data that's collected there and start formulating a list of those characteristics and rankings. So
Okay, great. You will keep us updated?
I'll keep you updated.
Okay, and then the last thing is, there was an email that went out by the Board of Ed last week, and I just kind of wanted to hit some of the highlights of that. The board and the district administration want to, again, apologize for the late cancellation of the informational meeting regarding athletic and co-curricular conference options. We are very aware that this is a topic that is of utmost importance to our community. And for those that are not, have not been affected by this yet, with younger students, we wanted to just explain that our current athletic co-curricular conference, the Interstate 8, is being disbanded. And this means that the high school students who play a sport or who are involved in certain academic competitions will be playing in a new conference for the 2019-2020 school year. And we understand the importance of analyzing and studying what options are open to us. And the board is acutely aware that selecting a new conference is vitally important to our district. So the meeting that we were going to have is now being rescheduled, and the informational meeting is set for Thursday, March 8th at 7 o'clock in the high school auditorium. We please ask that you come to the meeting. You can bring your high school and junior high students if you want. Please, we really want to reach out to the junior high families as well, because this will be definitely affecting them sooner rather than they think. There will also be a student-only meeting that Jack Balderman will host shortly after the parent informational meeting. And more information will be coming out on that from Mr. Balderman, but he's hoping to do it on a PLC Wednesday afternoon, hopefully like at 1:45. So the topic of changing conferences was, has been brought to the board, and it's very important that before the board makes a decision on important topics, that we really reach out and talk to the parents and the families who are affected, and so, who will be affected. So we wanted to definitely tell people that your opinion and your comments and thoughts are important to us. So please, if you can, try to make the meeting, again, Thursday, March 8th at 7 o'clock at the Westmont High School auditorium. Okay. Anything else? All right. So are there any public comments? Okay, future meetings and events. Teacher Institute Day, oh, that's this Friday, March 2nd, 2018. There's no school. Manning Elementary, before we go on, I did get asked a question. Obviously, March is starting, and we still have the possibility of snow, but maybe at the next board meeting, which would be March 20th, would we know, do you think we're going to call it the school year?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can probably make.
Okay, and have we made a decision on the junior high? The junior high graduation will stay at the same time? Did we?
I'll confirm that with John,
Okay,
but I
okay.
believe so.
And the high school graduation stays no matter what?
Right,
Okay,
right.
okay, thank you. Manning Elementary School Open House, March 5th at 6 o'clock at Manning Elementary School. Miller Elementary School Open House, March 6th at 6 o'clock at Miller Elementary School. Westmont Junior High and Westmont High School Spring Choral Concert, March 7th at 7 o'clock at the high school. And the Athletic Co-Curricular Conference meeting is March 8th at 7 o'clock at the high school. Parent-teacher conferences are March 15th from 5 to 9 o'clock. And parent-teacher conferences are also then on March 16th from 8 to 11. There's early dismissal on the 15th?
15th,
Right, early
right.
dismissal on the 15th, and no school on the 16th.
Right.
And then the next school board meeting is March 20th at 7 o'clock here at Westmont Village Hall. We don't have any
No.
motions. Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to enter closed session for the purpose of discussing personnel issues, student discipline, and probable litigation.
So moved. Second?
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Coyle,
Yes.
Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Rudy,
Yes.
Mr. Strohmeyer,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson, Mr. Armstrong,
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
And there will not be a motion vote after closed.